going to be the vertical. So now I've zoomed this in to 165 when I scaled it up. Now I can kind of move the picture to where it's showing me this one piece of, what's that?
What's anti-flicker filter?
Hold on, I get to that. You should also see off to the right, if you can't see it, there is a show hide timeline arrow here. Everybody can look here. It's here and here. You should be able to see a timeline of the clip that you can actually scrub through to the right. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's there. So I can look at it a certain frame if I want to, or I can look at the whole thing. The next one you have would be rotation. So if I rotate it, what's it going to do?
I'm just trying one way or the other.
Yes, it will. And that's by degrees. You can see here. So that's what happens when I rotate to the right or to the left. Command Z, what do? What is the anti-flicker? Show the anti-flicker. I need to look that up. I never used it. You can only go from 0 to 1. Opacity we already talked about, right? But that is here as well. So I can, the highest I can go with opacity is 100%. That is completely visible. I want it to be completely transparent. I drop it down to 0. And now I would either see black, or if I'm over another piece of video, I would be see-through. I have blend modes in here, so especially if I'm lowering my opacity, right? So let's bring it down to about 65. It's on normal blend mode right now, but now I have a bunch of different options here that will kind of change the texture of what I'm dealing with here, as far as what that opacity looks like between those two clips. So. And a lot of this is going to be a trial and error situation. These are effects, and so you kind of have to experiment with them to see exactly what they do.
So what's
the most seasoned editors that know exactly what everything is, you know, they go through this same process that you'll be going through still on a regular basis, even at an expert level. So there's a lot to figure out. You know, like, see, here's color burn. You see there's more red and a deeper contrast in the image when we set it on that. Normal, that's what it would look like without any kind of filter on it. But you've got all these different options here. Notice, you know, when I'm up at 100%, opacity. This overlay thing isn't really doing much for me. I mean, it's changing some things, but
how did you? I'm trying to. Oh, okay, I need to click on something again, don't I?
What's that?
Like in order to get those lines to show up again. Sorry, not the lines thing. Lines in the middle of the thing.
I'm not sure.
Safe margin.
Oh. You don't need those. That's just safe margins. That's here.
Oh, click it right here.
Plus, yeah. Then grab the box.
in.
And now if you click on it, but you don't need it.
How do I get the filter thing, the blend mode
Right there.
to work?
Select light screen. Select anyone. Select.
I'm trying to, but it's staying the same.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe mine was. Are you guys seeing any difference with if your opacity is all the way up? Are you seeing any difference with the blend mode?
No.
Yeah, you shouldn't be. Mine keeps like defaulting, even though it says it's at 100% opacity, it keeps defaulting back to that dissolve. So I've got a bug going on.
So you're saying what does dissolve do?
Well, I had the opacity lowered before, and that was what was allowing me to play with the blend mode of the
So
opacity.
you're saying I should lower my opacity
You can.
to what do you recommend I lower my opacity to?
It's up to you. I have mine at 65. But when it's at 100%, it should not. These should not be working. I should not be seeing through this at all. None of these should have any effect. So I've got something going on, obviously, with my machine, but so you have those options for effect as well. The blend mode are very.
The little rainbow arrow icon, that's the same thing with the Control Z, right? To undo these little things here, like.
They should be, yeah. They should be go back. Reset effect. It's not undo. It's not going to undo your last step. It's going to, however many steps you've done on that particular thing, if you set, because your settings, there's something called keyframing too, which is a little bit early for us to be getting into, but see that diamond that it just plotted here when I adjusted?
Yeah.
Okay. I go down here farther, move that back up to 100.
Where's the diamond?
Right here.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I see it. Got it.
See it?
Yeah, I got it.
But you can plot multiple of these throughout a given clip and see what it does. Watch the number, the opacity number. So I'm starting out at 100 and it hits that first keyframe and now it starts to reduce because here in the middle, the second keyframe, it's at 0. So it goes from 100 to 0 and completely fades out. And now it comes back up because this last one I have is at 77 to a partial transparency, and it stays there for the rest of the clip. So I can set keyframes in this way to adjust a clip as it goes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I've got keyframes set all over opacity, right? Say if I want this to come back up to 100 just near the end here. Now it's going to re-increase again. So if I play that back, fading out, fading back up, slowly, gradually. And so this keyframing business gets a little complex. But what these will do with reset parameter, it's not going to just undo the last thing that you did. As soon as I click that, what they got bugs going on. Anybody else try that? Did it clear?
Oh, what's the mode?
Because see, here's what it should do. My scaling was up at 165. If I hit reset parameter, it's going to put it back to default at 100. Okay? That's what it should do. Just put it back to the default. It shouldn't be setting new keyframes. So I'm not sure what's going on with my opacity right now. I'm obviously having some issues with it. as you will encounter. They are computers after all. But it shouldn't undo your last move, it should put you back to square one.
Okay.
But see, square one for me was scaling. I've also moved my position, so what's happened here? The video clip is way off to the side, right? You can see instead of being back to 100% from 165, but the edge of it is here. So if I wanted to move that back, I would have to reset the parameter of my position as well, and it takes it back to the original 640, 360. Okay? Okay. This a lot? Take a break. Take 10, 12, 15 minutes. I need to get my
So wait, take a break?
Yep, go ahead, take a break.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not.
I think so. No, this is great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. You guys are, it's not too fast for you guys.
No,
Okay, good.
sometimes it's Greek. Hi, I'm Kara. Did I introduce
We didn't do
myself?
last time, I'm
Okay.
Nice to
I'll
meet you.
be here
Wednesdays.
today. Yeah, I'll be here every Wednesday.
I met Anne Marie last
She'll be here every Monday.
Monday.
Gabe
Gabe-
should be
he's
back.
not been here.
He's sick, super sick.
Is he?
Yeah, figure sick. So if he doesn't,
This is the time, right?
everybody's sick. He should be back next week. Okay.
Hopefully.
So he doesn't have like to play remote.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, he's back in the fold. Okay, good. Just tell me, but seriously, chime in whenever, okay?
Yeah.
Just let me know. Thanks.
So I had, and there's like not letting me say my mind. So I had 2 or 3 jobs. So I'm looking 8 to 11, which is fine. I have 11:30 to 1, which probably will go 11:30 to 1. If I can eat out, but then I don't eat out. 11:30 to 1. Then you want me to do.
Wait, break is still going on?
And I'm like,
So, break is still going
I
on,
didn't
right?
know it was supposed to be late. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna be late. Then I thought I was scheduled, and then I don't wanna, I didn't, I wasn't planning on working that late Sunday. So I was like, yeah, stuff I need to do at night, which whatever. I'm gonna show up a half an hour late. She said, well, this is right. No, I'm gonna show up a half an hour late. I'm gonna be I mean, I did not, like, I thought that I was doing the 11:30 to 1, and then I had an hour, you know what I mean, and then I had the 2 to 3, so it was like, fine, I had to go and whatever, and she's like, well, if you don't do it, she's gonna be all alone. I mean, she should not be accepting a 2.5 hour job without a team, like, I can, luckily that hasn't happened to me, I asked, but like, if there's no team, I won't do the job, if it's the one team, you know what I mean? But I've never showed up for the job and then not had the team show up. But I've been doing that. Right. Yeah. I don't know why that person's not doing more in favor or what maybe she, like, I'm thinking of she needed a lunch in my thought. But it's okay because I've done it pretty good. No, that's not okay. It's not. And I know, not all day. You know what I mean? And she's literally not having any passion. You know what I mean? Like the mission, you know, like I was kind of an hour and a half. I'd be surprised if it is done by an hour and a half. And it's for a person that likes to take some time. It's fine, it's good.
Three different places. And he did just that twice. He drove away with it on top of the van.
How was it on top of it? Yeah, try to pick it off the crusher, because it's coming out the headphones jack. And then there's a splitter.
So should I put it on the headphones?
Yeah, try that.
The speaker is in.
I thought we had. Yeah, that was the speaker.
It just it shows 0, and then all of a sudden you touch it, and it's like all the way up. It's nothing. And I thought we had to have it on the restaurant to.
Go back to crusher.
Let me try. An application.
Yeah, go to YouTube.
No.
You don't have to yell.
The following is a rebroadcast of Donald Trump's first press conference.
I don't know enough about there. back. Sorry. Sorry if this is seeming a little disjointed. This book we just started last semester. I've been teaching out of a different manual prior to that. It's either last semester or 2 semesters ago, but it kind of jerks all around, and so I find myself doing the same thing. I'm trying to get you guys the most out of it.
So, what chapters?
We're still in 2.
Alright. So, where do we alter the footage?
Hmm?
Like, I put it at the, so do I change the opacity number? Is that what I do?
Yeah, you can. If you're trying to play with the blend mode still. But we're gonna move on from that.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Change back.
Alright, so instead of actually going through this without any kind of workflow or rhyme or reason to it, just getting into adding titles and stuff like that, let's actually start to build our sequence, okay?
Okay.
Alright. So you guys don't have to do this, but going forward, remember, if you use the Finder window, you can start looking back at your files on your, either on your ThawSpace, or in this case, we want to go to the Adobe folder on the desktop and look in the Promo 1. Remember, there was a little PDF that showed us what it is that we're supposed to create for this company. Because this chapter really doesn't give us a whole lot in terms of direction to make this, so we're just going to go ahead and do it. And we'll add some of the things that we talked about. So our purpose and our goal was to make an embedded video for an e-newsletter, capture the client's attention, increase the number of readers that open the newsletter. Our deliverable, what we're making, a 15-second video featuring high-quality video, music, and voiceover of the slogan. Or that very poorly recorded, we get the dirty jobs done right. We want compressed video that looks great and loads fast. So there's a certain export setting they're probably going to want for that. What we have to work with, the media files. We have aerial clips from the construction site, we know. We have the company logo, which is the PNG, and we have voiceover and music. So let's start to piece this together. I am going to close my existing timeline, but that was just a test. So I'm going to get rid of it. I just X'd it out.
Do you want us to use the whole video? Or can we just pick pieces?
We're going to pick pieces.
Okay, so not the whole video.
No.
I just wanted to make sure.
All right. So let's start with loading up some clips here, okay? Let's first take spin up. Double click spin up. Now let's count our clips here. If we want to see all of these, we've got 15 seconds of screen time, do we not?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got 1, 2, spin up, tilt up, crane up, 3, bulldozer, 4, sorter, 5, drive, 6. We've got 9 clips. Nope, 8 clips. That's my sequence here.
I got 12 clips.
You should have 8.
8.
There should be 8 video clips, and then 2
Oh,
audio, 1 logo, a PNG file, and then 1 sequence that we can add. that would be your 12 files, but you have 8 video clips. So let's start this. Instead of starting to clip off, let's select. Here's what I want to do. I want to take a random piece of video. We'll mark it to 3 seconds. So let's start with that spin up. And mark off 3 seconds of video that you really like within that clip, okay? Like so.
Oh,
Find spin up. Double click it.
line spin off.
Find a place that looks attractive to you, like this, like the spin up, for instance. Set an in. And set an out
Okay, so
until you've got your clip into out set at close to about 3 seconds, okay? It doesn't have to be the same as mine. The reason we're going to start with video instead of audio, we should be starting with the audio, but the way Premiere works is the first clip of video that you lay down, it's the timeline is the sequence is going to take on that video clip's properties. So that's why we want to lay video before the audio. So I've got a 3 second clip. I'm going to drag it over to an empty timeline. Not the one I've been working on. I'm going to close that one. You guys have the same one you've been working on.
So we close ours?
Close the old one, yep.
How do I do that?
There's an X in the corner of the tab.
Close. So does it keep it or get rid of it?
It just closes it. It's still saved down here.
Oh, okay.
So grab this from the center. If you got it, you haven't set in and out points yet, right?
Not yet.
Okay, so find a place that you want it. Mark off 3 seconds. Or thereabouts. Huh? Do you need help? Once you've got your 3 seconds, you can either grab it from the center of the source monitor, or you can grab the clip down in the project, either way. Drag it to an empty timeline. Or remember, we have overwrite and insert. We can use either of those. We can drag video only right here. We have a lot of ways we can do this. But drag that new clip down. It starts a new timeline. The video clip should be the only thing there, right around 3 seconds. If I want to make sure that my timeline settings are the same as what my clips are, I go up here to sequence and look at the first option, which is sequence settings, and it tells me exactly what I have here. I have a 720p editing mode, 30 frames per second. My resolution is 1280 by 720. So that's how I can always check this, okay?
Is there like a way to like set it just before you even put anything in there? You can set it to a default like.
You
is
can
that-
make it a new sequence if you want to, and you can set up its properties.
Okay.
And if you wanted to do that, like say you're playing with, in your found footage project that I'm going to assign you, for instance, you may be gathering different resolution files from all different sources.
Yeah. That's what-
And so some of it may be 640 by 480, some of it may be even smaller, some of it may be 1920, 1080. What you would want to do there would be to file new sequence. And as soon as you make a new sequence, it's going to ask you what property you want. So there are all these different presets that you can set up for.
Okay.
Well, when you're ready to do that, and so in one of these projects we'll do this as well. It'll give you but see, there are a lot of different codec settings that we can set this up for. DNX HD, for instance, is particularly good with Avid, which is a different editing software. Digital SLR, DSLR, those of you guys that are working with, if If you have a DSLR camera and you're working with video shot from that, there's a standard sequence for that as well.
What would you recommend for like one of those, just for like a high definition like video, like for the best like quality wise?
The Airy seems to be the default for Premiere. And you see there's a 1080 folder with multiple different types of frame rates attached. DSLR does work very well with DSLR video. If you're shooting off of a Canon or a Sony or what have you. The HDV works. Red would obviously be particularly for the red cam. XD cam is a Sony product, so that works well with what you've shot off of Sony. But if you're going with something that you wanted to just be all-encompassing for a particular, like we say, a found footage project, for instance, the first one, Airy, is kind of the go-to.
Okay.
So you've got this 1080p 2997, and then no matter what resolution of video you're dragging in, it's going to
The
be
final thing will be.
matching it to that sequence. So, but doing it the way we're doing it for this project, if you know everything in your project is consistent, then this is the way to go about it. Just take a video clip and start the sequence that way, and it'll match it to your file. So now that we have a video file down, now we're actually going to start with the audio, because our music, right, is our track. We want that in the length of 15 seconds, right? The music should last out the entire timeline, what we're building. So let's go up here to our project and double click Upbeat Short, the music clip. Now I have overheads, so that helps. If I play this, I can look at it right now. My duration is right here. It's not 15 seconds. It's 16 seconds and 16 frames. It's over time. So I'm going to have to trim this somehow. Playing it from the beginning, and I can use my arrow keys to right and left, to frame by frame through this. And really, it starts right off the first frame. You got the first note right there. So if I play it, okay. So this is editing on the fly in a sense. I'm going to stop this a little prematurely from, again, I want to leave all this off. So I'm going to set my out point right about here.
Oh, I was, sorry.
But even that,
Put this down there.
trimming that little bit off the end, only gets me down to 16. I still have to lose an entire second off of this. Now, this is an e-newsletter. We can make this 16 seconds. I know they're asking for a 15. If we were dealing with television, we would have to be a 15. There is no 16-second spot. That doesn't happen. That doesn't exist. So it would have to be cut down. But considering the outlet that we're creating this for, this is going to be okay. All right. If I wanted to, I would probably, what I would do, and different editors are going to do this different ways. We've got this through the beginning. I would cut one of those loops out. And, try to get a second out of that. But instead, we're going to call it, I'm going to mark it to exactly 16. We're going to call that good.
Oh, we're gonna mark it to 16.
16 seconds, yep. So that's what I have. I'm going to drag it over here to the timeline. I'm going to place it on A1. All right. Now, again, if I want to do this a little bit differently, if I want this to be on A2 or A3, the way I'm going to go about this is in the patch panel here. What I have here is my source. So this A1 over here that's by itself represents what's in the source monitor. What I have here are destination controls that represent what is on the timeline. So if I want to move A1, I can drag that down to say A3. Wherever you place it is fine, I just want you to understand how this works. So if I drag A1 down to A3, and then I do my overwrite or insert, I've targeted the track that I wanted to land, okay? I've only got 2 audio clips, so it's really unnecessary in this project, but as you get into more elaborate dealings with more
16
clips and more
seconds?
layers, yes, 60.
For the footage or the 3
The
seconds?
music.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. I'll be short. So I've targeted this to track 3, and that is how you would do it. You would move the source clip to whatever track you wanted it to land on. Alright. So we've got a 16-second piece started here. Now we need to fill in the gaps, right? So let's start grabbing, actually we can actually grab our promo VO first, right? Let's do that. Let's grab our audio in tag, which is also stereo, left, right. It's 3 seconds long. 3:02 actually. And remember it said,
We get the dirty jobs done right.
like it was recorded in a. Like it was recorded, in old, 1930s sound booth or whatever. We'll, we can either drop this down by overwrite, or we can drag it from the source, or we can drag it from the project. One way or another. I'm gonna drag it. I have snapping turned on. Remember this snapping thing that we talked about, which is this magnet? This thing here. As long as that's blue, it's turned on. So if I drag this over to my timeline, oops,
Why would it possibly not drag the drop over there?
hold on 1 second. As I get close to the end of the music track, it's going to snap to that out point. It's going to snap the out point to the out point. If I go further, it'll snap the in point. As I get close, boom, it snaps them together. You see those triangles up and down my playhead? Can't really show you all. At the top of the playhead and at the end of the clip there, it's showing me these triangles that are saying that it's locking those together. So as I place that,
We get the dirty jobs done right.
okay, so we can adjust the placement of that if we want to.
Okay,
Did you do your?
I did
Yeah,
some.
mine.
Oh, wait, I need to go back.
Endpoint, but then it still give me 16 points.
I think I need to go back. I did something. It disappeared, the timeline disappeared.
And now you can just.
Control V, right? Oh, there we go.
Back up. There you go. Now you got it. The next thing we were gonna do was like this part. Which if I boom, get close to the end.
Like 3 seconds long.
That's where we're at so far. Command S
I did.
will save your project. Go ahead and do that now if you have it.
Crap. I accidentally did something. I'm trying to get it to 3 seconds.
Yeah. See this real quick. Remember, this is zoom out.
Oh.
So let's see here. What do you got? Yeah, you got 40 seconds.
I'm trying to get rid of
And,
V.
you've got your magnifying glass, so remember V, hit V,
V, okay.
and that takes you back to the selection tool. Click that clip, just click on it anywhere. That's good.
Let me get it.
All of that. Got the other.
This way? Oh, that's 3 seconds?
There you go.
If you drag
I accidentally made this- oh, crap.
That's okay, that's fine. All that, you didn't set an in or an out point, that you did, what you did was you zoomed in. So if I zoom that back out,
Oh,
in and out would be I, so there's your in point.
sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. I'm just showing. What you grabbed was the zoom tool on it, so.
Oh, sorry.
No apology. Okay, so you got your clip,
And you're gonna.
and the next thing you were gonna do was your music,
So then.
which is this.
Yes.
And you wanted to set that so that the out point was like right at 16. So hit O for out,
Oh,
and you're at 1526. So now use your arrow keys. Go this way 4 times. Too far. Okay, right there. Now hit O. So you're 1602 now. Let's go back 2 more. 1600.
okay, now grab it.
Yep, you can grab it, drag it to 1, or
This one?
either way.
Right down here or down?
Drag it to the very beginning. There you go. So it lines up to the beginning of the time.
Right, audio 1 or audio 2?
Either one, wherever you want to put it.
Now I grab the promo, right?
Yep. Drag it out, and the closer you get to the end, you want it at the end, it'll snap. It snaps the out point to the out point.
Okay.
There you go. That's where we're at right now. I have it in 3, but I was showing you guys how to target that. Where you place it is not important. You have 2 tracks and modules, so that's all you
Can
do.
I keep it?
That voiceover track though, it needs to go to the end. Huh?
Where, that way?
Okay.
So, so I save it now?
Yeah, Command S to save.
Oh, Command S, right, sorry. I was gonna use save as.
Everybody else good? Alright. So we're building this thing, right? We got 16 seconds, so I'm starting with a nice little spin up clip. Now, this is where pacing and rhythm come into the whole thing. You can actually start to kind of edit to your beats. But whatever is, visually pleasing is going to be, we're looking at probably about 2 to 3 seconds per clip is the main thing. If we're going to get every single one of these clips on the timeline.
Oh, every single one?
If we're going to, yeah, that's our goal.
Okay.
If they're all attractive shots, yeah, we'd like to get them all in there. So, if I go, you have 2 keys, the home and the end key, which are right over top of your arrow keys, home and end. Home takes me to the very first frame of the timer. End takes me to just after the very last frame. Okay? So I'm going to hit home and go back to the beginning. Now my up and down arrow keys, as I mentioned briefly before, will also skip me from edit point to edit point throughout the timeline. So if I hit the down arrow key, it takes me to the end of the first video clip that I've laid down. Actually what it does is it takes me to the frame after the first video clip. See how I'm sitting on black? So it's actually put me in the perfect position to lay my next clip. Right?
Do we use it, the next clip from the same video file or a different file?
We're going to get a different file. So let's find, this time let's use one we haven't done before. Let's use Drive. Double click the one called Drive.
I did.
Good. Alright, now let's find a part of this clip that we like and mark it off for 2 seconds.
Oh.
Again, we're all going to be a little different here.
So
Now,
2 seconds is like the tiny thing, right?
gonna start right here where the crane is actually dumping into, that's not a crane, what is that? Excavator. Backhoe, is that what that is? Backhoe. Where it's loading into the dump truck here. So I'm gonna start it there, that's where my endpoint is gonna be. I'll play it. And set my out point, that gives me about 2
Wait.
seconds.
We press a button, right? Which button do we press?
I and O are your in and out points.
Oh, okay.
I don't really like that. That's not a whole lot of action going on. Let's actually get this thing where it's starting to drive, the dump truck's driving away. So I'll set my endpoint there, it starts to drive away. That's really, really slow. You know what might be cool? If I take more of this, like if I take this right from where the arm is still on the dump truck, still loading,
Oh,
and set my endpoint and get it to where the dump truck is driving away here and set my out point. Now as I look at that, that is 14 seconds. That's a 15-second clip that I've marked out. This thing takes place so slowly. But this is where I might be able to use my rate stretch, right? Or adjust my speed so we can experiment with that a little bit. So I'm already in position to lay my next clip.
okay, so how do
I'm going to, follow me here, line up V1 to V1, because I want to target track 1. So I want these both blue and I want them lined up together. And now I'm going to come up here and hit the overwrite button, or a period will be the shortcut for that.
Wait, how do you do? I'm trying to get my like that.
And boom, it lays it down on the timeline right after the previous clip.
How do you line them up?
I'm
I'm trying
Line
to
them
get
up.
it to.
to line up the track target.
Yeah.
There we go. You would just.
So the out point of the end,
Yeah,
right?
but yours.
Oh.
25 to 26, right?
Oh.
He said 2 seconds. Is this what you wanted? 2 seconds, or is that microseconds?
Let's hit the down arrow. Hit it, go ahead. Down.
Heading down.
Oh, hit up. There you go. Hit down once. Takes you to the next edit point. Go ahead, hit this overwrite key.
Right.
This one right here. Right after that.
Okay, but
It's fine, it's way too long.
I need to cut a bunch of it down.
Hit, watch this, and hit the up key. Up key will take me to where I need to be. Got this marked off. Go ahead and click that overwrite button. Right there, yep. That sets it for you. Actually, let's undo that because you got 33 seconds there, so let's go.
Oh, it's
Figure out.
big, I just.
No, you did the overwrite.
Shorten mine down.
Alright,
We gotta back over. I made the video that was like too long, so now I gotta drop that into the here and overwrite it.
just hit the overwrite button. Right there. There you go, that one. There you go.
And then I'll,
Everybody else cool?
no,
Huh?
no.
Who said no?
So I have it to write, oh crap, I don't think I have it to write amount.
You marked it off for only 3 seconds.
Oh, so,
Well, what I did,
Filter
I said
back
3
out
initially, and I said, look, this was a good opportunity to actually experiment with.
I like that.
Set it like this. Now we'll write along quicker.
Oh, edit it further, all the way right there.
That. So, okay, so we're way along here. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come down here and right click this drive clip and select speed duration.
Okay, speed, duration,
Everybody see that?
yeah.
Click it. Brings me up a new dialog box. My speed right now is at 100%, right?
So I shorten it, right?
My duration, mine, everybody's gonna be a little bit different. Mine's about 14 seconds, 22 frames. This is where if I wanted to play a clip backwards, this is how I would do it, because see that box that says reverse speed? If I just check that and hit OK, it'll just play the clip backwards. Alright? So that is how you would do that. It's right here, located in the same place. But what I wanna do is I wanna make this much shorter. I wanna make that same action that takes 14 seconds, I wanna make that happen in 5. Okay? And then we'll trim it from there. So, let's call this, what do we want, up or down? And you see, if I click out of the box and start, and I just pull left or right on the speed, you see the duration moving with it? So the farther I pull to the right, which is the higher, I'm at 116 and climbing.
Oh, we pull to the right, right?
The shorter that clip is getting.
So is the speed faster if I pull to the right?
You want it to be a higher percentage, yes.
Like how high?
I'm gonna pull mine to, let's see,
Oh,
let's call it 300. So let's just type in there, 300. If I make it 300%, that makes my clip just under 5 seconds.
Is that how long you want it, under 5 seconds?
Yeah, somewhere around.
actually now it's
So I'm at 300%, I tell it okay.
okay.
It creates a new, remember, it doesn't, we're not manipulating original files, right? It created a brand new file for us. It's on the timeline. We see it here, instead of having this big long clip, we have a much shorter one now, much more manageable. And there's a little FX box on the clip that is now highlighted yellow. So we know that we have laid some kind of effect on it. It's telling us this, right? It happens to be a speed effect. If I hit the home key
Speed duration this way.
and play this back, now, I could even go faster with that, couldn't I? I could go faster with that if I wanted. I could set it for probably 400% if I need. I'll leave it as is. I'll trim some of the end off of it.
I need to make it shorter, I think.
Who's with me so far? What do you tell them?
So
Right click that clip.
I need to edit this more, don't I? Look, I'm shortening it.
Duration.
I'm
Click
shortening
out of the
this
box.
side.
Oh yeah, we'll just make it 300. And hit OK.
Is that two?
You're fine. If you want more, you can, like we trimmed it before, you can just trim it out.
Small?
I won't let you do. No. 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 Okay.
make it just as small as like that. Oops, I accidentally did something. Let me switch it out again. This is the right amount you want, right? I'm gonna press Control S again.
Command S. All it's doing is saving. The only time you wanna save, you should hit that, you should hit it off.
Should I have the logo be towards the end?
We'll get to that, we're not there yet.
Did I shorten this enough or? I need to shorten this enough.